Remember, when they ask you things like this, and not just here, even in the question itself, they always test that you know the difference between direct and indirect. Factory overheads, admin, sales and distribution. Okay, you have to know the difference. Wages. Now usually when it's wages, it's for the factory workers, and they say yes. Employees in the production process, so that's direct labor. The salary of the factory foreman. Yes, he works in the factory, but he's not a factory worker. So it's indirect, and indirect goes to factory overheads. You have to check what is the terminology in the block. Okay. Stationery used in the office. If they say the word office, you know it's admin. EFT payment to the Daily Dispatch for advertising its sales and distribution. I just want to make extremely sure that you understand when we talk about selling and distribution costs, it's expenses. Ne? So don't confuse it with the word sales. Sales is an income, and sales is what I do to make a profit. This is what I do. I sell my products. Selling and distribution is the expenses I make to make sales possible. I need to market. I need packing material. I need sales reps. You guys get where I'm going. Okay. Transport cost of raw material. So raw material is direct material. Okay, mashli, I don't know how to say this. Mashle. What does it mean? What does it mean? Yeah, I know it's a name, but what does it mean? Okay, let's go on. So, they asked me to do the factory overheads and the production costs. So I'm going to do it all in one. Now, I want you to see that they say here, calculate. Now, the moment they say calculate, you don't have to do something formal. So when I do the factory overheads, I'm not going to write and answer and write and answer. I'm going to do calculations and put my final answers in here to make it easy and just total it. Okay. And there's my production cost statement, so I'm going to do everything all in one. And now with this one, remember what I said in a test. Always go, highlight for yourself and write. This one in this case is the opening and this is the closing. Can you see it's different than the previous exercises? Yes. Please, in a test, do not just assume it's always old, new. Okay? Most of the times it's closing, opening, because this is the format you're supposed to write in a company. Company's books is always the current first and then the previous year so that you can compare. Okay. So now they say raw material stock. So this is my opening stock and this is my closing stock. Work in process, opening, closing, but I do a production cost so I can go put in the opening and the closing. Next one, factory consumable stores. So the word factory already makes it a factory overhead, ne? So consumable stores is my indirect. So if I look at the consumable stores, I want the opening plus the purchases less the closing, ne? So there is no opening, meaning I didn't have any handy Andy left from last year. Whoops, luckily it was closed. So the purchases, They tell me my purchases is, do you see it?
Yes,
Where?
again, Q1.
Consumable stores. There it is. 31,080. And closing you always subtract. Opening plus, closing subtract. So now I get my consumables is 27,900 like this. Okay. Next. So I know in the production process, this direct material cost is the direct material that I used. Right. So sometimes they will give it to you as direct material issued, meaning that is coming from the storage room to the factory floor where they are making it. And in this case, they didn't say issued, they said transferred, which is the same. They transferred that material from the storage room to the factory floor. So this is equal to issued, which is equal to the cost of the material I used. Everybody with me? No, it's not factory overheads, it's direct material cost.
Okay, so when it says issued or transferred to the factory, what do you do with that information?
You take it to direct material cost.
So we still say that direct material cost.
Yeah.
Is that just extra information or are we
No. The concept is we keep our raw material in a storage room. When it is needed in the factory, it is issued or transferred to the factory. Does that make sense? So whenever they use the word material that was issued, material that was transferred, I know that is the material I used and is part of the products now. So that is my direct material cost. Does that make sense? So what is another word they could use instead of direct material? Raw material. Ne? Don't forget that. The same with what is another name for indirect material? Raw material is direct. Indirect material, the other name is? We just did it in factory overheads. Consumable stores. Okay. So, yes? No. Let's go on with life. So this is 748. Right. Direct labor cost. There's nothing to add or minus. They gave you what was issued. So if I had to do a T, so you must did this, the opening plus the net purchases, ne? Plus the carriage, plus the customs, minus the closing, give me the cost. Ne? So now they gave me the opening and they gave me the closing and they gave me the cost. So why would I want to plus and minus if they gave me what I wanted?
So the when it says issued is the cost.
Yes.
So we don't need to subtract the closing if we got it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Issued, the moment it's issued, can you see issued looks like used? Can you see it? It's an anagram. Can you see that? So if I used it, this is the cost of the material that I used.
So all of the calculations are done. They're not the point of giving us opening closing and
They always do it. They always give you, you will see, sometimes they will even give you finished goods. They want to confuse you because they want to test that you understand the concepts. I didn't set this up. I got it from old papers. So what is an opening and a closing? It's the stock that was not used. So what you can calculate with this is if you take the opening and the closing and the issued, you can calculate how much did you buy. No, don't make stuff difficult. Stuff becomes difficult on its own. Okay, now direct labor cost. Remember, direct labor is wages. Now the moment we have wages, we have norm time and we have overtime. And that forms gross. The gross and the contribution gives me my whole expense. You guys get that? I also have to remember the gross is equal to the net and the deductions. You guys fine with that? So now if I read here, they give me my production wage is 532. They give me employer contributions 58,520. Now if there were no adjustment, that would have been fine because it's the gross plus the contribution. But now they give me extra info. The following entry was omitted, which is just a fancy word for left out, from the production wage journal for the last week. The net wage. Pay attention. Forget about those things now. Pay attention. Meaning, put down the sellotape and pay attention. The net wage due to employees. Now they say, the total deductions for this employee amounts to 23% of the gross wage. Now what do I know? The gross is 100. They now say the deductions is 23. So that means the net is 77. Does that make sense? So now I'm going to take that 9240 times, I want 100 because I want the gross. Divided 77 and then I get 12,000. 12,000. Okay. Now I still need the contributions. And they say they pay 10% to the pension and 1% to the UIF. So can you see they don't say if it's on gross or net. So you assume it's gross because it's always on gross. The net would be an exception to the rule. Okay, so 10% of 12,000 is 1,002. 1% is 120. You could have said 11%. Okay? 10 plus 1, 11%. And then it would have been 1,320. Okay, so my labor adds up to what? 603,840. And then I total for primary. I'm still busy apparently with the factory overheads. So let's go. I see salary for the factory management for the sales staff. That's sales and distribution. Okay. Now I see here they give me water and electricity. Now things like water and electricity, insurance, rent. You get one account, you pay one account. The municipality doesn't care what you use the water and electricity for. They just care that you used so much and you owe them. You go and you divide it into factory, sales and distribution, admin. But you pay one account to the municipality. So now I paid for the water and electricity 37,220. Now, before I start, remember, adjustment before ratio. So, let's see. the amount of 3280 is still outstanding. That's the accrued expense, so I need to add it. So what is my real expense? 40,500. And now they say 75% is for the factory. So what is my water, electricity? Say again. That's right. You guys, can you see? I didn't take 75 from the adjustment. I take the 75 from the whole expense because they didn't say there, this is the water and electricity for only the factory. Okay. Insurance. So if I look at insurance, it includes blah, blah, blah. So my insurance is 14,820. It includes a premium of 2222 for January to June. Now you know, insurance is always prepaid. Because you cannot, at the end of the month, say, oh, I didn't bump my car into anything, so I don't need to pay the premium. You pay the premium to be insured in case something happens. So you always prepay insurance. So now, that 2220, ne? Usually they say it's an annual premium. But in this case, it's not annual. If you look, January to June, it's 6 months. How much of the 6 months, how many months is prepaid? So my year, according to this, ends February. So, if I go look, January, February is in the year, meaning 4 months is not in the year. Right? So 4 months, and this gives me 1,480. Okay, now that means my expense is how much? 13. Anybody? But you've got a brain left. 13. 340. And now they say it's between the factory and the sales. Can you see they didn't insure any admin? Which doesn't make sense because there's computers in there. Ne? Okay, but now, so they say 3 parts out of the 4 allocated to the factory. So that gives me what? Anybody? 1?
1,005.
Okay. I have sundry expenses for the factory, 21,840. Did I miss any expense anywhere? I don't think so.
Does factory management count?
Factory management, yes. Salaries for the factory management, that 113,040, that's my indirect labor, ne? Okay, so total factory overheads, and it gives me?
Sundry expenses.
Yeah, there it is, 21.
What is that? Oh, why do you have so many adjustments?
The 9 is for sales department.
So sales stuff is like sales and distribution.
Yes. Okay, total? 2016, like that. Like that. Okay, so that now goes to my factory overheads here. 203,160. I total. I add the work in process at the start. I minus. Is this right? Yes, no?
2 seconds.
Huchle, is it right?
Yes, ma'am, is right.
Okay. So now, can you see we were busy with Marshley? Now we're going to Naidu. You guys must always look at the top when they say the business name. So what they are saying to you is this is closing the chapter. This is a separate question from what we're doing now. So 6.3 Naidu, we cannot use any information from 6.2. You guys with me? Okay, don't be tempted. So now, if I look at this, they give me my info here at the end. There's my info. So they say, Naidu's toy shop makes and sells teddy bears. The accountant prepared info presented final year, financial year 28 Feb. Confirm the break-even point. Meaning, you have to show your calculation. You're not going to get a mark if you just write down the break-even point. So I want the fixed cost over selling price per unit less variable cost per unit. So if I look here, I see the fixed cost. They didn't give me the total fixed cost. They gave me the per unit. So that 54 I need to times with the number units produced to 640. Selling price per unit, they give me. Variable cost, they give me. So what is my fixed cost? The 264 there.
2
Units produced.
Then we have to round out.
First give me the top. What is that? There's no rounding there. 1, 4,
2,
5
6,
over, and this gives me 52. And then when I round up, I will get 2742. And you will get no mark for that. You'll get your marks for this.
In this calculation, if initially I said 54 over 172 minus 170, and then later on I said
And then you times it with 2640. It's perfect. Okay, next question. They say, explain whether Naidu should be concerned about the break-even point. Now remember, if they talk about the break-even and the production, you don't care that it went up and down and sideways. What you do care is profit and loss. So you're going to look. Can you see last year we made a profit? Ne? On what? 71. Is it 71 products? 171. 171 products. This year is a loss. Ne? Can you see I produced less than the break even? And the loss is on how many products? 102. So should they be concerned? Yes. So explain whether they should be. They should be concerned. No, this has got nothing to do with liquidity. Liquidity is money. This isn't money. This is units. So let's answer this the way I want you to answer it. They shouldn't be concerned. They should be concerned. How do we spell concerned? Like that. Because they made a loss on 102 units compared to, always bring in the previous year, to 2024 profit on 171 units. So I don't want you to get used to writing the break-even point of 2742 is higher than the units produced 2640. They are making a profit. In the old days, that would have been a perfect answer. The new way of marking is they want you to compare the profits or the losses or the loss and profit. They want you to compare the difference between the two. You get what I'm saying? So this is how you have to answer it. No liquidity.
Was I going to roll with?
Yes.
Even though I was going to see
You don't know. No, listen. Nowhere in this question do they tell you that you sell it for cash. You can sell it on credit. Then you also don't have liquidity. And the fact, and the profit and loss is no indication of your cash position. Because your cash position is dependent on how much you sell and how much of what you sold's money you got in. So don't confuse the two. Okay, let's go on. Provide one reason each for the change in direct material and direct labor. So, you have already decided which one you're going to use. So, the best one for direct material, you can see direct material actually increased with 10 Rand. But can you see they didn't ask me which one increased or quote or anything. They just ask a reason. So you just say, they changed suppliers. That's the easiest ones. Or you can say more wastage or higher quality. But you are not going to say the petrol price increased again, which makes the transport more expensive of the raw material. Nothing wrong with the answer, it's 100% right. But it takes too long to write it. Ne? It takes too long, you're working against time. So now the labor cost, if I look at the labor, can you see it decreased? Please do not say that you fired someone. This is not about the amount of workers you've got. This is about productivity. So you say, workers were trained. Meaning they are more productive. Or you can say they worked less overtime. Ne? Firing totally wrong. Got nothing to do with how many people work for me. Okay. Hey, Buddha. So, provide a suitable reason for the decrease in break-even point. Now, don't be like me and just assume, oh, they're going a loss, so it increased. It didn't. If you look at this, can you see the break-even point decreased, which would usually be such a good thing, because it means I produced things, I've start making a profit faster. But can you see my production also decreased? So this could be because of COVID maybe, or it could be because of load shedding. There can be a lot of reasons. Okay, but now they say provide a suitable reason for the decrease in the break-even point. So, I will say, if I look at this, so if I have my fixed cost, selling price per unit, variable cost per unit, can you see, stop talking? Can you see that if your fixed cost per unit decreases, this amount becomes smaller? Can you see that will lead to your break-even point to decrease? Ne? Can you see if your selling price per unit increase? Ne? That will lead to your contribution to be bigger. which will lead to your break-even point to decrease. Can you see if your variable costs increase? That will lead to your contribution to be smaller, which will lead to your break-even point to increase. But if your variable cost decreases, that will lead to your break-even point to also decrease. Can you see this goes together, opposite together? So now, my break-even point decreased. Now, if I look at the information, my fixed cost increased. So it's not that. Can you see your factory overhead's the same, your admin went up. So it's definitely not your fixed cost. Sales and distribution went up a bit. Direct material went up. So what's the only thing I can see here that could have had a big effect? Is the labor cost that went down. So you say the direct labor cost decreased. How many? 7 rand per unit. Ne? So you can say better control over your workers. Ne? Workers became more effective, more productive. They were able to produce more. But now my problem with saying that is my units produced decreased. So it could be that my workers that I do have is more effective. But maybe I lost workers. Ne? Not fired them or whatever, but maybe the scale I'm working on is less. I don't know.
I have a question.
Yes.
So if like a question was to be asked,